Hello, everybody. Welcome to Divine Mother Earth Time. I am your co-host, Laura Eisenhower.
And I am your other co-host, Marisa Acocella, and we have an incredible show today. We've
With our,
got Chaney. Woohoo!
yes, and Courtney's coming. She's coming in just a little bit. And I have to say, you guys are like my now favorite Illuminati detectives.
I love this. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chaney, I'm going to read a little bit about you. Old-fashioned American lesbian, first lady of Conspirituality, Unintentional Muse, Infotaining Contrarian, who reminds you that MAGA is witch in Latin, and it's okay to change your mind. All right, Chaney, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for having me.
Thanks for coming back. What an incredible show. Last show, just amazing. Your mind just really blew away a lot of people's minds. What are your thoughts post Super Bowl? What did you gather from all of it? And what were you able to watch? What are your thoughts?
I was able to watch. Well, actually, I didn't watch live. I took it in stills, and during I was live on YouTube and took it in kind of as the audience did, and we broke it down in real time, which was kind of funny to do because in a way, the numbers are important. And so when you're seeing things that they play over and over again, like 4 + 9 = 13, 13 was Taylor Swift's favorite number, 49ers, like this kind of thing. And then you're like, oh, Kansas City. And so you have K, 11, C, 3. So it's like 311 in a lot of ways because they like to look at things backwards, which is also some people say is KKK, and that's part of that spell. And I just thought it was super interesting whether you were a Kansas City fan or a 49er fan. You were sitting in a stadium called the Death Star in Las Vegas, which also means the Meadows, in a fertile land during a Super Bowl. So a Super Bowl is a way that you would entice the gods to give you very fertile soil. We would make love with the trees, which we saw this Grammy Awards, which was very like Meg the Stallion and showing this homage of like tree hugging, so to speak. But they used to, in Dionysus rituals, all the maenads would come out and they would all have huge orgies during this time, all leading up, because this would be the fertility time. So all the cum and blood would all be going into the soil. And so this is part of the Super Bowl. So in this Super Bowl this year, we also have it right up on the Year of the Dragon. And so the Year of the Dragon, all of a sudden, I believe in my philosophy and theory, we are in an ancient war that we don't even know about. That's always been against China. And so to me, a red dragon is huge symbology for them. So to come into the Year of the Dragon and then have an entire stadium, both sides, red hats. And that would be very powerful and a very big tool of communism that they would be able to use to just spread red hats for everyone. But they can't now, because if you wear a red hat out there, that might mean MAGA, and you're not allowed to be MAGA. So it just seems like there is kind of like a thorn in a New World Order game plan. That for me, the New World Order game plan would always be about China and big pharma and everything that you have witnessed over the last few years steamroll us. But something seems like it just can't go according to plan.
Okay, so does that, okay. There's
So
a lot to unpack.
Yeah, that
there.
was a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. Big surprise coming from you, Chaney. So, all right. So the Red Hats, the ancient war against China. Okay, their fertility thing at the Super Bowl. I mean, when you think about it, also like the Super Bowl, the bowl is kind of like womb-like, and you're talking about fertility, right? So there's that. So that kind of
Ishtar. Because
Ishtar,
you're building up. We just finished Fat Tuesday. That was
right?
all of Bacchus. So that you lead Bacchus into Fat Tuesday into Mardi Gras, which is another form of excess. beads. You give beads for tits, you know, kind of thing. Mounds. You get some mounds for your beads, for your almonds. And so the whole week, Valentine's Day, and then it's all leading up to an Ishtar Easter festival, because
Yeah.
Ishtar is Easter. So this is all Venus
Right.
symbology. So
Right.
even back to here, this, to me, this is all start of this ritual.
It's also like, you're right, which is really the same thing as Inanna Heroes Gamos, Inanna Ishtar, Eostar, the German pagan goddess, with the rabbits, which also symbol fertility and eggs. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all in the inverted expression of it versus just how it connects to just the cycles of nature, because of how they harness this energy in a
Mhm.
symbolic kind of way, right? In an inverted kind of way.
Yeah, I think that's what it's I have this kind of loose philosophy that the sun, that representation in the sky, all the sun worship that we hear about, it is that is the second sun. Like that is the false sun,
Mhm.
where the real sun, it used to be the morning star, was Venus.
Mhm.
And so somewhere this has gotten polluted and inverted. But I think that pussy, like the Me Too movement and the way that Hollywood showed us, they wanted to evil witch us, but we weren't supposed to gather our intuition in time to combat it. We were supposed to be like all for it, instead of like, huh, those broads seem like they're up to something fishy. Like we weren't supposed to be awake for it. So yeah, I do think there's somewhere they've totally inverted all of our energy. Some people say they took the Venus energy and gave it to the moon. And that's like really like all their moon worship now and their Artemis and the things that they put on it. That was all originally Venus powers and stuff. So I don't know.
Hmm. So going into what was happening in the area where Taylor was hanging out. A lot of people zoomed in on the people she was standing next to, taking kind of drinks, and this upside down cross and some of that. Who are those people? And like, what do you think of all that?
It's so weird. I think that the girl that was next to her is I feel like her name breaks down to Isis. I don't remember what her name is. She's
I
famous.
forgot. Hmm.
Yeah, her name breaks down to Isis. Her
Right.
afro is interesting to me
Hmm.
because it is so Venus of Willendorf. Like that afro, if it doesn't represent the Venus of Willendorf harsher than anything I've seen in the public in so long, I don't know what does. And so her being there and doing as above, so below symbols, it's also, there's something very Maenadic about it to me. Like these women together, like feasting a little bit on this energy. um like I just wonder what the Dionysus energy is.
That's really an interesting observation, the fact that she does look like Venus of Willendorf. And then you also have like Miley Cyrus doing this, like the Kali tongue, right? Looking like Kali, she was a destroyer. And then remember, like, when Angelina Jolie had her leg out and she looked very much like Inanna. I mean, a lot of these Hollywood stars are striking goddess poses. It's very strange to me that, and I don't think that's an accident either. I think they're, signaling something.
Do
But
you guys believe in is it invocation,
oh
where
yeah,
you can like evoke? I think something about them is like, even wearing the Marilyn Monroe thing for Kim Kardashian, like
hmm,
she's, or Usher with the white glove, the one glove like Michael. Like
yeah,
something about it, I feel like they're conjuring an energy into them that maybe wasn't Michael's necessarily, but we saw Michael with it. And maybe pure vessels can hold energy, and the elite are trying to harness some of that, some of the good energies
mhm.
into their thing. So it's like a way that Marilyn Monroe, they said she would walk into a room and like she was brilliant, and it didn't matter who you were. She made you feel in a way like you were the only one in the room. She had this like magnetic like essence about her. And we all have met people like that. We all have met those magnetic people. And so if you could harness that and you wanted the world to see you with that kind of energy, wouldn't it be important for an ugly, ugly witch? Like if you took the evil witch, how she wants Snow White's essence. It's not just her youth she wants. It's like there's something else. And so I think sometimes these elite are harnessing, they figure out like maybe there's a Diana energy that comes along, or a Selena, where this energy comes along that's so magic that it's real. It comes from source and it's real, and we all see it and we all feel it, and they have to take it out and then try to harness it.
Well, yeah, well, that certainly goes on. I mean, what about, I kind of want to jump to something that happened today, but I wonder if we should stick on this subject. But because I just want to mention
Can I
that.
off topic, not plug something, but just for women? This is so off topic, but I have this vitamin B12 pen, and I'm not even going to tell you the company. I just tell everyone to look it up because I don't get sponsored by them or anything. But most women are depleted in vitamin B12. And so we chase the dragon with energy drinks or caffeine or something. But you can look on the back of most energy drinks, and the active ingredient that your body's seeking is vitamin B. And so these are urine soluble and they're so healthy for you. And I just encourage everyone, especially when you're artistic and feeling that kind of thing. Vitamin B12 sometimes is such a nice.
Can you don't want to say the name, or maybe we
Oh,
could
I could tell everyone where to get it. I think I actually wish the company would big up and like give everyone like a 10% off or something, but it's vitaminvape.com. And it's these, I buy them in packs of 10 and they last me like a month a piece. So it seems kind of pricey because they might be like $20 a piece, but they last me a while. And 5 puffs is your daily dosage of vitamin B. But it all, even if you were to puff it all day, there's no ODing on it because all this comes out in your urine because B is urine soluble. So I just think more women, they think they're tired or depressed or have, especially out there in the winter time right now, because the weather will beat you down. Too many days without sunshine. So I just feel like put a little B12 in your life. So
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
that's awesome. Yeah, we could get a link to put in the description on that one. That would be great. And so Courtney's here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, everybody. So Courtney's joining us. She's an internationally renowned author, psychic medium, speaker, intuitive channel, and the writer of the Dear Human viral meme, which went mega global and was shared over the world over 1 billion times. And she's joining us, and we're just like diving into post Super Bowl. We just talked about some of the symbolism happening in the stands where Taylor and her friends were. We haven't talked about the halftime show yet,
Okay.
but we're just kind of just starting the ball rolling on all this. Do you want to share some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I have many thoughts. So I'm sure you guys did talk about the sigils they were throwing, the Hail Satan signs, and the outfit.
Tell us about
Sorry.
that.
I have gone
Oh.
into no detail
We
at
haven't.
all.
Oh,
I just
okay.
know
So
your
go
mouth,
in.
Courtney. This is
Okay.
perfect.
So,
Yeah.
sounds good. So I'll take that one. So I believe this person that was with Taylor is called Ice Spice, or goes by Ice Spice, and I can't totally verify this, but what I'm gathering from what I saw, it looked like she was doing the Hail Satan devil horns sigil. She was pointing to her upside down cross she was wearing, and that was when the cameras were on her. She was very deliberately harnessing and harvesting, and also showing her handlers like, I'm here and I'm doing what I need to do. And she apparently is someone who also was involved in the photo shoot for Balenciaga with the bondage teddy bears. And teddy bear picnic is something they play when they're doing human hunts and child hunts. So the teddy bear and in the bondage is very much, the pedophilia of the elites, and that's a symbol of that. And so that, of course, down the rabbit hole, another layer of the onion, They will sometimes, what they do from, again, many years of just deep dive research into all that stuff, is they will take a teddy bear to scare the bejesus out of a child and do stuff to the teddy bear and tell the child, we're going to do this to you next. So that's why that was a particularly insidious thing. And people were kind of up in arms about why didn't she, not participate in that photo shoot if she saw that there were going to be empty wine glasses there and children tied up, and that it's really so sick and gross. But so she's in the cult. She's probably one of Taylor's handlers / friends. And they very deliberately choose who they're going to pan to and feature on the cameras. So that was something that was like, it sent a lot of shockwaves, I think, because again, a lot of what they're doing is look over here, not over here. And then they did the Kelce getting in his coach's face, and that felt to me very staged, like a Will Smith slap that was supposed to stir outrage. So it was very effective because it did. And they're longtime old family friends. And so that was to make it look like, oh, he's dangerous, he's aggressive, she picked another bad one. And so just get people talking, and a lot of smoke and mirrors and tail chasing around that. And then of course there was the halftime show and the commercials. So that's really the deep dive for me. Was that was very featured, but there was also a lot of subliminals going on. That was probably just one of the more, yeah.
Okay, so what were the other subliminals? I mean, what about like the blood, like the red piano?
Yes, the red table talk blood piano. Absolutely. They've all gone on that. Yeah. So the red table talk became the red, piano. And that's a Jada and Will thing. And Alicia's been on that red table talk. So that's an adrenochrome thing and a blood thing. And then of course Usher had a train on his suit, and dragonfly, which is, very much, the dragonfly is a symbol of someone who can walk the worlds. Like the dragonfly can go between the dimensions and go past the illusion. So the dragonfly is a very potent symbol. The train on his coat, and then also they kept having train symbolism throughout the commercials, which this is a particularly vile one. So trigger warning on this, guys. But a train, when they run train on someone, that is a gang rape in the system. So they want, and also with the Nazi symbolism, the train is get on the death train to go become a bar of soap, the Nazi thing. So train is extremely nefarious. They had Bullet Train with Brad Pitt recently, was a movie. They had, John Mayer has a song called Last Train Home. So they are always just have this like extremely satanic 14-year-old boy frat humor that's really gross. And so, whether they mean it somewhat romantically, whether they're MK Ultra alters know what they're doing, or they're just on orders, for the system. And some of them are psychic super soldiers, and that's what they were, I think, trying to make me, and probably what they would want Chaney for, is they just want to be able to have you be the performer. You have that mystic side of you. You have that ability to decode things. You have the ability to think in layered ways, where they, as Kathy O'Brien says, are flat thinkers. So someone like me or a Chaney or a Laura or a Marisa comes along and cracks their codes. They don't like it. They don't like it, And so we're a threat to them, not only individually, but as a little collective group here forming, that we can see through the illusion. We can show other people how to read, that environment, which I was taught very young how to read my environment before I probably even was reading books, And so then the symbolism, it just never slips by you. You see it all the time. And I don't know about you, Chaney, but like sometimes you want to put a dimmer switch on that third eye and crown chakra that's like wide open, or your pineal is decalcified, or whatever we want to say, because you can get bombarded with it. So I had to kind of dip in and out of the commercials, because there were a lot of deliberate triggers for my targeting, and a lot of symbols and signs that I knew were to try to, kind of rattle me and ruffle me. And I just laughed, because I saw through it, and I was like, this is bullshit. This is so stupid. Like even using Matt and Ben, I'm from Boston. I've joked about them over the years. But they're very compromised, and they did the Duncan ads and everything, and they had Tom Brady in there. So there's a lot of Boston themes. And they just pull their shit and play their games, and that's a lot of money they're wasting, because I think more and more people are seeing through them. And then you had the shooting today at the Chiefs parade. So like 10 or 11 people injured or dead. So that's another ritual. They're continuing the ritual that they start at the Superb Owl. And then they have more football fans, and they're just harvesting and harnessing and sacrificing. Really, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean,
And Usher wearing blue. So they had the red and the blue, right? Alicia in
right.
red and Usher in blue and then in white. So they have the red, white, and blue. But the red and blue being the Democratic and Republican parties representing the color, programming and themes.
Mhm.
And blue is Obama, who's always running things behind the scenes, and red would be more the MAGA stuff, which Chaney, all week I've been thinking about how it means witch and high wizard and whether or not Trump was inverted at birth and is just telling us, with the MAGA hat that he's been born to be a moon child in the Black Sun lineage. And anyway, so that's a lot of deep dive rabbit hole onion stuff. But I saw through it and I thought it was a weak one. I did what I told us, to envision us doing is I put a dome over the whole thing. I imagine children being safe. I tried to visualize and counter force whatever fuckery they were stirring up. And I think that it was a dud. It was a little mediocre and their voices weren't that good and their performances were kind of lackluster. And then they had the coach thing and people got hijacked by that into outrage. And so loosh, 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 loosh.
Yeah, Loosh was on the loosh. That is for sure.
Oh
What about, I just, one question though, because like one thing that kind of really stuck out to me,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
the brooch that Usher wore, that was a phoenix, right? What what did that
I
signify?
I
Like,
think Phoenix is the Obama handle. Like so evergreen is what they call Hillary. And that's
right?
what this yep. And so Phoenix is Obama. That's his handle
Mm-hmm.
in the system. They all are very big on having their satanic names as well as their public names. And he's the Phoenix. That's what he is.
Because it was just kind of,
Yep.
I
yeah.
also think there is Phoenix is the last stage of Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of scorpion and dragons, it goes back to the dragon symbolism again.
Yep.
I think the Ophiuchus, I don't know what stars we're really supposed to be under or what calendar is actually correct, but the stars in the sky are something real. And
Laura would know.
yeah,
Laura
we've
knows all that
always
stuff.
been under them. And so I do think there's something with the Scorpio that immediately, if we were to like a maiden mother crone for a
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio, that's scorpion, eagle to phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
for
Yep.
something about it, I think it's like the phoenix rising also feels like it could be something to do with a red dragon symbology. Like when
Yep.
you see a lot of that going down the Chinese streets, like the Chinese dragon,
Yep.
it seems like a fire phoenix. But it
Well,
also to attach to the witch again,
mm-hmm.
in a totally different way, because I just believe in like time travel and portals and big
Yep.
ideas.
Yes.
I think we had to convince them to burn us at fire one time because that's the only way that a phoenix rises is from the ashes. And so I also think with the phoenix, it's interesting that Ash Wednesday fell on the Valentine's Day this year. And so
Okay.
there's
Yep.
something phoenix about it to me, like of the
Well,
ashes.
I looked at Tommy Truthful, and they said that the phoenix is the Egyptian god Bennu, which is a phoenix, and Bennu is a god of death and resurrection. And Bennu is also an asteroid with a high probability of hitting Earth.
Oh boy.
And Bennu,
Wow.
there's like the number 13 associated with Bennu, which is death, and then there's rebirth. So there's that. So, I mean, I feel like it's all sort of connected, but I want to know, like, you brought up efficacy. So how do you say that again? Laura would really, like, in terms of
Ophiuchus.
time.
This is one of the words like Quetzalcoatl that
Okay,
if I try
no, that's right.
if I
Yeah.
try to read it in my brain, I'm a lost
Yeah.
soul. But if I just like listen to somebody else say it and only go by that, it's like trying to read a Polish last name. That's what I feel like. I'm like, oh, can I just call you Ski?
Yeah. And
But-
that's like really funny, Chaney.
That's how fucus a little bit. I am
Yeah.
like, it was one of those words that for whatever reason, I'm like, gosh, my mouth doesn't want to say this. But I had to put an F in it in my head. I had to
Yes.
take out the spelling of it and actually spell it OF, and then I never forgot it.
And then there's efficacy. Isn't that where like in Turkey where the Virgin Mary went or something? I'd like I get a whatever.
Oh,
I don't know.
it
But I
feels like
know
a
there's
very close
Medjugorje.
thing.
Is that what you mean? No.
No. But hey, Laura, what is going on right now astrologically in the
Good
stars
question.
in terms of what happened with the Super Bowl and where we are now? Like, can you-
Yeah, we just came out of a new moon in Aquarius, and like Mercury, Mars, Pluto, Venus are all conjunct. Wait, Mars, Pluto, Venus are conjunct, but Mercury is also in Aquarius, Sun moving into Pisces. New moon. I mean, wow. When Pluto and Mars are together, it's really, really, really powerful. You add Venus to the mix, and we're talking about Venus. It's just like huge. So it's very transformative. It's all about letting go of what doesn't serve us and just really, Phoenix rising kind of energy. But when it's kind of harnessed and it's like people like getting sucked into something, then they're sort of, moving into the portal of the next wave of just inversion versus personal transcendence and rebirthing outside of all of that and cutting those cords and feeling that personal awakening to your own sovereignty and truth and your own alignment, which is what the awakening is all about, is not being a part of that dependency bond anymore or providing that loosh or just being caught up in those dramas. And if you see like, Usher just gets married right after that, and then you see the kiss of Travis and Taylor and the little words that they make sure they tune in on, and just a lot about just focusing on love aspects that seem staged to a certain degree. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are about that. So the Aquarian energy in Uranus is all about authenticity and truth and the divine mind, and Pluto takes us into the depths of our soul and the dark night of the soul. But like if it's being yanked into something, it's like, where does that energy go when it's not being like processed within yourself, as far as what this next step should be for humanity's better, higher good, versus just getting absorbed into the theater of it all and not realizing how much you're being hijacked while you're being entertained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it's like we're at the crossroads and we could wake up where there's more deception, or what? Is that what do you think?
Well, the sun moving into Neptune, Saturn and Pisces, and the North Node Aries with the Chiron, it's just really facing the wounded ego, the wounded warrior, and where the psyops are really leveraging wounds, right? And these false movements and everybody being butthurt over everything. And like, you can't say that, you have to say that. And like, you got to say it this way. And that, for those of us that are more awakened, we're looking in a transparent way at our wounds and where we need to let go and release and transform and transmute and rise above, and just what it means to look at where we've been targeted or where we've been censored. There's those wounds, but then there's the wounds that are leveraging historical traumas based in false flag events, and all these trigger events that are engineered in order to capture that trauma or that wound and utilize it into the false solution or the fairy tale theater, that we can all feel inspired by, that is outside of ourselves, rather than doing the work to activate that divine blueprint and the rebuilding of that, DNA architecture that has been so messed with. So, for an awakened person, we're going to be more mindful and conscious and go through that process. And for somebody that is looking outside of themselves to see, is that really reality, the trajectory of where we're heading as a human race, the engineered version? How much are we invested in that and in those stories and in that kind of news? So as the neutral observer, like you guys are, being the detective of it all, we just kind of see, what we're up against when it comes to our families and friends that might still be really absorbed into it, and hopefully be able to have them, be able to decode and deprogram through just like correcting the reversals, de-weaponizing the weapon, and just kind of holding space for the recognition and observance of the dark underbelly that uses our children and our life force and sexual energies and our mind and our emotions to battery up, their dominance and control while entertaining us and making it look like, it's all fun and good times. And it's really not, because, what are people doing? They're letting it live for them instead of standing up and being the character in their own story and movie.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
basically, it's time to wake up from the programming and just really jump into our divine blueprint. And
Whatever wounds are coming up is like, we gain wisdom, we gain strength, we gain, more clarity, more discernment, more boundaries, more self-protection, more caution, instead of the lower level of all these emotions or responses or triggers that are looking for society to create the solution that's seeming to be progressive, but it's just another trap,
Yeah.
and it's causing more conquer and divide and more, upset, and just people flocking to their little cliques and standing up for their little thing that, is really not helping us to come together, because we all have different pieces to activate within each other. Instead of, who's the bigger victim, who's just being more of an advocate for things like climate change, and just where all that passion and fire, is going towards, things that are very funded and very engineered to play upon, good intentions in people without seeing the geoengineering or, the setups and the theater of it all. It's using those wounds and leveraging it, instead of us like taking it upon ourselves and looking to each other and being like, we're not going to let them conquer and divide us, and let's put down those labels a little bit, or at least if we're standing, in connection with it, that we remember what it's really about, which that's why I think the political sphere is very different than the Obama and the right and left when Trump came around. That was kind of crushing all that and taking it to a different level that has been so demonized in the news for a reason. But anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling on, but
no, I think that's really interesting, Laura, because like, did you hear like the latest thing that just came out with Matt Taibbi and what's his name, that other writer? They just said like there's this big story, and Dan Bongino was talking about it, about how Trump was really spied on, and Waters just did a whole excerpt on it too. Like, this is really coming out that the campaign was real, that Trump was really spied on, and everything that we said was going on did go on. With and Dan Bongino did a great decode of everything. So
and that it's not being talked about that all of the money that the American people have spent on technology, that the Obamas and the Clintons were fleecing to China and Russia and giving to them. And this is what everything proves in these cases. So it was like all of the inspiration and musings that were coming from America and us were being given to other places to do stuff with, that where it's like things to take over us instead. And these people were knowing about it, and these all connect to all of that. And it's like, I don't know, it's tyranny.
And there's also
it's just,
okay.
I was just gonna say, it's all Freemason fuckery, guys. Like the left, the blue, the red, the blue. They're all in the same cult, and they all play different roles, and they all know what their marching orders are, and they're all very convincing. And so at the end of the day, like, I love what Laura says, it's not about the personalities, it's not about the politics, it's about moving beyond the psyops and not being hijacked by any of it. Because to me, literally, if you know their name, they're in the game, and they all know, and they all protect each other. And it's you don't get to be a president unless you're selected, not elected, number one, and you're installed by the cabal, right?
Mhm.
Except for probably back to Laura's great grandfather, who was probably one of the exceptions to that rule, because he did call them out. He called it out, and Kennedy called it out. And so
Mhm.
there were a few good ones along the way who, absolutely tried to clue the American people into, hey, this is not in your best interest. Put it that way.
In my
right?
opinion,
Yeah.
I feel like Trump's called it out the entire time. And I think
Yeah,
they
he
hate him
used to
for
be
it.
in the club with them, so he knows what their tactics are. So he's trying to pull reversals on the reversals. Yeah.
I don't think he was in all the same places with them.
I
I
agree with you, Chaney.
I think that mafia families and going up against the church, and they are different than politics. Politics tried to become a whole different thing. I think Nixon deleted stuff to just save his life, and then he was shamed for it. That was about a bigger war. I think the Democratic Party has been taken over for a long time, and that's why John F. Kennedy Jr. called Biden a traitor, and that's why the FBI looks into it. I think all the men, like, I don't necessarily think, if you were trying to save a republic, I don't necessarily think Trump was plan A, but I think he was a plan. And I
He was
think
a wild card for sure. Yeah.
he was a trump card, and being
Yeah.
told, but you have to, the Joker is the trump card, because the Joker is legitimately the only one who can mock the king. And so one of the things about Trump is he became the postmaster general, which the postmaster general of any free world, there has to be a postmaster general of any free society. And so that is the one that takes our currency and gives it to a king or a higher up. It's the only one that's allowed to walk in front of a crown. That's why everyone that made a big deal about Trump walking in front of a crown, he didn't give a shit, because he was the postmaster general at the time too. The president answers to royalty still. The postmaster general doesn't have to. And so that was a different thing. When you watch him go to Saudi Arabia, he got the sword ceremony. From the Muslims, he got the sword ceremony.
That means
They were,
but that's
like,
a Mason thing.
When Obama went there, he kissed a ring.
Yep.
There is
Nope.
a
They're all
different
playing
thing.
different roles, and they're all in the same club. I'm telling you, because of the sigils they use and the history of them going way back, and it's all been pre-planned for decades. And so for the people who love Trump, I'm sorry, but
In
he
my
is
opinion,
in the cult. Yeah.
she was never supposed to lose, because there's quantum things that exist
That's
with
true.
Tesla
You're right. You're right about that.
there's Tesla technologies that
Yep.
exist, and we are supposed to be sitting right now in the second Hillary Clinton presidency right now. And
Yep.
it would Joe Biden was never supposed to be here. It's because there was only 4 states that had clean elections at the time, and that's why at the last minute, instead of flying out to California to the Dominion machines that already stole the election from Bernie, Trump pulled in the last 4 that he wasn't supposed to do in the final minutes that he didn't tell anyone. The only reason he eats McDonald's and drinks Coke is because it's the only clean food he can get, because he's tried to be killed more than any other president. The missile that shot off out of Hawaii was meant to shoot down his plane way back when. The SeaTac plane that was taken over, that flew into a missile silo, was meant to take down his plane. They've tried to kill him more than any other president.
Las
Vegas with the whole Stephen Paddock and everything, and all the whole kerfluffle that had to start.
Nancy Pelosi handshake, that was another one.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't, and she was pissed about it because she had that on her hand. Yeah,
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff. The big thing about Trump, I believe, is he makes famous the person we weren't supposed to know about. So he puts Fauci on the main stage. He puts Pence in front of your eyes so he can't run the Handmaid's Tale on you later on. He puts DeSantis in your face so you have to do all this work, and you're like, huh, this guy isn't the guy we said. Trump is the great magnifying glass. And so he puts the MAGA on people to make you notice.
He does amplify.
He's a key chess player. So
he's a catalyst.
Sometimes certain people in the mainstream or in even the movement might have gandered because Trump stood next to him. Oh my gosh, they're a quote unquote good guy. But I don't think that is the case. I think some people, he tripped them up. He just sped up the Illuminati's plan. That's why I think SpaceX has to shoot off 4 rockets in the last 2 days to finish up Blue Beam in time. because the ritual's not ready in time. I think we're
Right.
supposed to be sitting under the second Hillary Clinton presidency, but I think the real Hillary Clinton was arrested on 9/11/2016 when everyone said that, oh, look at Hillary had a seizure. No, she didn't. She was dragging her feet because she was being arrested that day. I think Trump did everything he said he was going to do, but the only way we'd notice it is because the media is the only window they let us see it through. So is the media, a goddess, going to actually tell us the truth, or do we have to do a little bit of research to see that other stuff might be happening? So
I
to
think we should
me,
probably believe the
in
media.
a time travel of it all, in the Tesla energy of it all, Trump actually posted on his IG a picture of his uncle, Dr. John Trump, with Nikola Tesla on his IG last night. In that idea, if you get a number from Trump ever about his campaign, 88022 is the number you call to get Trump's campaign. It always has been since however long he's had his campaign, 88022. If you look at the date that Mar-a-Lago was raided, it's 8/8/22. That's bullshit to me. And it's not because they're all playing a game, because the 666 to me on a building in New York during a Build Back Better, because to me a Build Back Better is a lowercase BBB. So saying that 666, that Biden Build Back Better, was supposed to be the Hillary Build Back Better, because she was still supposed to have the MAGA of it all and the witch hunts, and then Build Back Better was supposed to be hers. 666 over New York would have been a chess piece like you're talking about in 5D chess. There's monoliths in 5D chess. It's a real game. It's past regular chess. And so there's monoliths that are involved. The 666 building in New York would be powerful magic. But guess what? Kushner buys that building and changes it to the 606 building. That is this huge chess piece, and everyone always tries to talk shit about Jared Kushner, but in the sigil magic for me, when he did that shit, I don't even know if it was him. It could have been all the Trump family. It could have been Ivana. It could have been, I don't know. But 606 does not hold the 606. And so there's something about it that I was just like, there's something else going on here. Like there's something, it's wizards and warlocks that we don't
understand. That's what it always is warlock battles and witch battles, 100%.
And I know this is like such a 3D thing to have to big up President Trump. But I just have been paying attention to every speech, every word, everything the whole time. And he's not there so you have belief in him. He's there so you remember that you live in a republic and that you're free. In 50 United States, every single one of these things with the Supreme Court that was set up, guess what happens? Any of them, it doesn't matter if it's your abortion, your marijuana, your guns, it gets hit to the Supreme Court and then they hit it back to the state. We're supposed to be 50 separate states, all with separate ideals, in little counties, in little places with separate ideals, and then we're united still. That is what it's supposed to be. So we're supposed to be a constitutional republic. And so that's where I think this is a really big deal, that something in the last 4 years, the magic has been done. And we were all supposed to be sitting under a Chinese Super Bowl, under a Pfizer ad. And look at only 12% of Florida got boosted, 70% for the first shot. 2/3 of the state of Florida got boosted, which makes me really proud. 1/3 of us were like, nah, dog, I'll wait on that. Only 12% got any following shot. Only 12%. That means I'm sure your states are all the same. We won that. We won. All of us micro influencers and our little mouse, we beat the news. And that's how I feel.
Love it.
I love what you just said, but is that 12% just Florida, or is that 12% in all the states?
That's just Florida that I've actually researched, but I'm sure your numbers are all similar. If you live in New York, because your city's so tight, but you have a whole bunch of state. And so the other people out there might not have listened. So you might have had 50%. Maybe let's say 100% of your state got vaccinated the first time. For any of the boosters, I guarantee only 50% did. For any of the follow-ups, I guarantee only 10% did. And that's where I feel like we're winning. It's like people are waking up every single day because you don't shut your mouth and keep following your intuition. And it seems crazy when you say, like, I don't know, I think it's like time machines and witches.
I know. I think there's a time travel component to it for sure.
But I want to talk about intuition, because the whole thing with the Martin Scorsese UFO commercial for Squarespace. Did you guys see that?
I missed that one. No.
All right. that was interesting because everybody's seeing like this, the UFO, and they're looking and they're like not paying attention. And
Oh,
then,
they're looking at their phones. I did see that one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. And then they're looking at their phones, and then Scorsese sees it on the internet and like reads about it, right? And it becomes real.
Mm.
So that's like, don't trust your intuition, trust the internet. To me, that was,
Yeah.
I didn't
And
like, I was,
Scorsese, yes.
no,
Scorsese sounds a lot like Sorcerer, doesn't it?
he does. He does. He,
Yeah.
of course, but I mean, that to me was my takeaway. If anybody has any other observations about that.
That I wanted to, it's like in that intuition way of like, Laura, just when you were talking, I'm like, it makes my head do a thing about so many words that you say. And when you were
Yeah.
even going back to the Mars and Mercury and Venus and new moon of it all, it made me think like a new moon is a way that if it's the only way we can see the sky the best. So it would be the time that almost like the moon shuts the F up and the energies of these other stars get to come through during this time. So the most feminine planet I can think of is Venus. And the most masculine planet I can think of is Mars. And so they're conjunct right now with this mercurial, which is our highest high, but also would be our androgynous Cupid. Like this coming together all at the same time in the new moon. So I would call it like the womb of the sky, that you're seeing this like dance of our most masculine and our most feminine. And I don't know anything about astrology like that. I just see it in ways of like Disney cartoons and stuff, but it's in that way of like they're almost birthing. It would be our that process. Like they're doing a dance in the sky and they're about to have a baby Mercury.
Hyrus Gamos, or however you say it, Hyrus Gamos, right?
That's Gamos, yeah.
Hyrus
We were,
Gamos, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, just all that, those themes around like relationship.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah. And it's a really powerful conjunction there. And I just so agree with what you just said. Yep.
So isn't Lupercalia something with Valentine's, and I don't even know that one.
Yeah, I feel like that is kind of the where they're like, you're never going to think about Valentine's Day the same way again. And it's
Right,
like,
right.
yeah,
So
I,
heavy-handed with it. I know.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Lupercalia. That's where I couldn't believe how many things were conjuncting all in this week. But I guess
Oh,
this happened to us before in 2018. And so I
that
was
makes
trying
sense.
to remember where we were in 2018, where we had like a similar, not necessarily of the sky clock being the same, but their calendar rituals being the same on the same dates, all like
Mhm.
Ash Wednesday, and here's your bloody Valentine, and here's your all this, here's this week. And then I don't even, it's just it blowing my mind with, oh, and I don't even remember the last time the groundhog came out of the ground and we had spring early. What? I'm like, I don't think it's ever happened once in my lifetime. I feel like he's never like I feel like winter always just lasts longer and longer. That's just the
Yeah.
way it's been my whole life. And this year I'm like, this is amazing. I'm looking at my friends all over the country and they're just wearing their normal hoodies. I'm like, isn't it supposed to be snowing or something? Like it's just
New York got an epic snowstorm. The East Coast got totally hit.
And LA's been flooded the last
Yeah.
several weeks, So yeah, there's some weather manipulation going on. They like their cluster things, right? And they do have their high satanic holidays, and we've got Easter coming up in April, so that's the next big wave. But yeah, I think tracking the moon and the planets and thinking of that, if we go really just for a second into the time thing, Chaney, it's so fascinating, and Marisa and Laura, like, we know on the intellectual level that time is not real, or it's at least not linear, and so that's a man-made construct, and it's how we mark things, and we have certain different calendars and stuff. But for me, they must have Project Looking Glass, where they can kind of time hop or predict certain or curate certain outcomes, like the Groening or Matt Groening or whatever in The Simpsons. He's a Freemason, so again, he is not predicting the future, they are creating it, or they've jumped into a different timeline where it's already happened and they've seen different possible outcomes, and they're trying to guide us to the ones they want. Does that feel like something?
You know what? Yeah, I have to say one thing about that because, like, remember the guy, the horns guy from right J6?
Yeah, yeah.
He, like, The Simpsons had him on. Like, The Simpsons, not only do they have looking glass, but they're able to actually see things. Like, it must be like this huge TV monitor where they could like draw from like the looking glass. I mean, like, as an artist drawing from shit, I'm like, man, I would like that at my drawing proposal.
You have it in
Big
there.
giant scrying mirror.
That Q shaman isn't a real Simpsons thing. They use like a
Oh, that's
Simpsons
not?
creator to do that to it, but it's
That's an
not a
after
real
the fact.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
it's an after, but
okay.
everything else about the Simpsons is
Yeah.
100% like
Yeah.
dead on, and
Yeah.
probably
fine, like,
just not the shaman, but everything else. It's like, I think somewhere. I just think they're playing the apocalyptic playbook, so it's not like he has looking glass. They're just running on like a script that they can tell him to do certain things or put certain stuff in his,
yeah,
Right.
but
you
they get
know.
the visuals right a lot of times too. I mean, that's weird. Like,
Yep.
how would you gotta, like, if you're gonna draw the stuff correctly, you gotta see it to draw. I mean, like, to
In
draw,
my
they're
opinion,
seeing it like really how it is. That is like the thing.
Like a little movie. Like in
um,
Wizard of Oz, where they're looking over the big crystal ball kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
they build it all like Beetlejuice miniature first, and then they show it to us on the big scale. Like
Like,
it's
how the fuck
all.
does that happen? Yeah.
It's
It's,
Truman Show
but
meets Matrix meets The Simpsons meets
Yeah.
like it's
part
all
of the
crazy.
thing that Trump mocks him about in every speech, he always says, "When I was coming down the golden escalator, when I was coming down the golden escalator," he mocks them because that is the moment in The Simpsons where he was supposed to get assassinated, and then the Trump funeral plays out in The
Oh.
Simpsons. He mocks them because it didn't happen that day, because Trump is one of the only presidents to not just trust in the Secret Service. He kept his entire own security. So that's why you see like a big, huge black guy walking around with Trump and like another guy. They're not Secret Service. He didn't trust the Secret Service. And so probably the same way Kennedy shouldn't have trusted the Secret Service.
Then
And
why is
so
RFK asking Biden for Secret Service? That's like, what is he thinking?
RFK is, to me, false potatoes or something. Like there's something about him that seems like phony fruit on, like, when you go into a like super wealthy person's house and you're like, that is the best looking apple I've ever seen. I want to taste it.
It's
But if you
wax
touch it, you're
fruit.
like, yeah, that's
You
where
hear
I
about
feel
all
like
the people that-
RFK.
Yeah. I
So
guess
I had this weird theory that his dysphonia, his voice thing, is a result of black magic.
Laura, what were you going to say about?
I just heard that 12 people that were hired to help his campaign quit. 14 people quit.
Oh, wow.
And that I guess a lot of the campaign money was being spent on partying or something.
Oh, that sounds like the Kennedys. And also the Super Bowl ad where he used like JFK's old ad and wove himself into it. That was weird to me. And I'm from Boston. We loved the Kennedys. We had them on a pedestal, even though we know about Maryland and everything and past Chappaquiddick and all that. But yeah, that ad was really creepy. It felt like stand on your own, not on your, brother or uncle or whoever. He tried to use nostalgia and it didn't land,
I have a question, and it's a what if, and it might be silly, but
Go
so
for it.
The Zoroastrians knew when Christ would be born and where he'd be born by the placement of the stars in the sky. And so that would be the Magi or the kings or the three wise men, whatever name they get. So if they knew this, and then that means there was some precise science to these stars at some point. So what if all of us and all those stars have energy, and the moon, being how bright it is, let a certain amount of that energy through? We are the exact creation of the energy of we are the same thing. We were like, these stars meet up and they give birth to an energy. What if like all of us are the birth of a certain energy from the sky, and you're really made of the stars, but not from the dust of the stars, but from their actual energetic to you at the time you're born. You needed to be born, and the like humans are kind of like a secondary to that. Like they're conceiving of you. Like that conception moment is this time of like, boosh, you get this
Like
certain amount of,
that video that was circling with like the
yeah.
light going in the egg. That was so beautiful. Like the conception of the light of God. It was so
If you look at the alignments and how the greater cosmic intelligence is repairing itself, right? So we're all a part of that greater repair work. We come in and we all hold different pieces. And in unity consciousness, we're supposed to come together and help switch each other on. We each carry a different piece of the puzzle. Like if you look at the cover of a box with the completed picture and you look at all the puzzle pieces, you know, we're all like the puzzle pieces that are looking to put all the pieces back together to restore the original architecture of our DNA. So all the different planetary alignments, we come in a different time to carry a different patterning that is meant to achieve that. And that's why they're trying to hijack it and use it for their own so that we don't go through those growth periods. So with the North Node, which has to do with where you're looking to integrate on a soul level in your lifetime, we look at it as the transiting North Node that's impacting all of us in Aries with the Chiron, where gender confusion, gender reversal technology, and indoctrination connecting to confusing people, leveraging wounds is creating a generation of very troubled children. They're also being born at this time to do the repair work. So if we can protect the children from being targeted or being used to interrupt that growth period or what they're carrying as a blueprint or a patterning that's coming from the stars to repair itself, you know, then we're in really good shape. And that's what this hijacking is all about, that we'll be distracted away in the artificial timeline, and psyops and false flags and artificial reality is going to keep a person in the shadow side of these alignments that they were born with, so that they look outside of themselves for the solution instead of looking at their, you know, deeper soul calling. That it takes time to develop that intuition and to hold space for that, to be able to actually listen to it. And all these distractions make it so hard. So I totally agree. Like the energy, you know, of the stars and their alignments is just like, boom, like, you know, it's like the seed. And then, okay, how's that seed being taken care of? Does it get enough water or sunlight? No, it's getting sprayed on and trampled on, you know?
Yeah.
And how does garden grow when we see
Poison.
being sprayed and
Yeah.
trampled on? It's like the garden's not growing very well, but if all that could just go away, then it's just encoded in us to know exactly what to do to repair this broken system, this broken humanity.
Yeah.
I loved what you just said, Laura. I mean, and I love what you said about the pieces of the puzzle, how we're all the pieces of the puzzle. And that's the other thing. That's why they want to keep us divide and conquered. And that's because so we hate each other. So we never put our pieces together. But I think
But the pieces are, yeah, they're just squabbling with each other, and it's like instruments. You know, do we bash
Yeah.
each other over the head because you're playing a cello and I'm playing a drum? No, you harmonize and play the instruments together to make beautiful music.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're like the great concerto. So let's like sing that song and rise above and
Universe, one verse, one
exactly.
song. You know,
Universe.
everybody has their note and yeah, their instrument in the one song. And so being unity consciousness, I love Christ consciousness. I love that higher consciousness. I love what they're about is hive mind. So again, that's the shadow inversion hijack of, you know, the new world order. And I agree with Laura that if we hold a, you know, higher vision, higher frequency, whatever we want to call it, there can be new earth encodements, which is the more sort of utopic rather than dystopic version of where we can go next. But we do have to wake up from the nightmare to be able to live the dream.
Also, we have to make sure we don't do anything and put anything in our bodies that will disconnect us from our chromosome 8, our God
Yeah.
source. So we have to maintain that and guard that with our lives because they're after our souls.
Yeah.
I also loved that Laura said, like being a natural observer. Like she was talking about us and just saying like, you know, we're like Illuminati detectives and just like, but I think observation is the key to taking any of the black mirrors in, is like just become an observer instead of a participator in their rituals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that is such a powerful thing, that to not feel, because our unintentional magic is such powerful magic and we don't know it because it's totally unintentional and most people don't even want to think it exists. So it's like when we're just sitting there and completely zone out, we become an unintentional observer all of a sudden. So if you're gonna just observe something, you have to be intentional with it. You can't let them use your magic against you.
Because you will dissociate, and you're right, they will lose you. That is absolutely correct. That's a wonderful, brilliant warning and take that. There's a way, there's an observation that almost where you are consciously kind of dipping in and out, which I had to do. Like I couldn't immerse myself like I used to in a movie or a song, or I just can't do that anymore. And so you have to be intentional, and you have to kind of, move your energy back into yourself, and then use your higher consciousness to see it from almost like side eye it, not go, because they're trying to pull you in. That's what they're getting sucked into, the rituals, getting sucked into the screens, getting sucked dry, and so if we are intentional observers, I think that's brilliant, because then you're kind of like you're seeing it from a different perspective, and you're holding your sovereignty while you're doing it.
I agree. I also think that guarding our energy is really important, because the loosh isn't just our energy, but it's also like currency, which is they're
Yeah.
taking our money and they're funneling it into Ukraine, and all those politicians that voted to send money over there, they all have bank accounts, and that money is going right into their bank accounts, the ones who voted to send the money to Ukraine. Like that's the way they roll. And we need to protect that. We need to protect our currency, our energy, and guard against these energy vampires that drain our souls, drain the blood from our children, drain our finances, steal our land, our life source.
And our creative imagination and what comes up with visions and dreams and manifests it. It affects it with a propaganda or narrative that we believe in. And then all of a sudden it harnesses it, it infects it so that our creative channels are actually producing and enabling the very thing we don't want.
Right.
It's infection.
Well,
That's
fear
why the
funds them.
implants and the nanoparticles creating an antenna to these signals begin to overtake the nervous system. Go ahead, Courtney.
No, I agree. I was just summing it up saying fear funds them. So they run on, of course, adrenochrome, and of course, actual money, and they're going to digitize all that. But fear is their greatest currency and their greatest weapon. And so when we can, like you just said, all of you, just regulate that nervous system, not get pulled in, see it from, the observer perspective, and also just go and do and build and create our own things, and kind of be more in, I guess, community, but also really in your sovereignty. I think you can be a me and the we, and I think that's where we're going is, a lot of us were self-sacrificing, and we're overgivers, and we're nurturing, and we put ourselves off to the side or last. And now we are realizing, no, I have to take care of my basic needs, and I can also serve. And I can't really serve from an empty tank, or like you guys were saying the last time, I put your oxygen mask on you first. So you have, a full tank to be able to overflow it to your peeps. And so, you can't serve from an empty. Well, a lot of us have been on fumes for a really long time. And so I loved seeing Laura put up, my love bought me these beautiful, boots for Valentine's Day, and I'm feeling the love. And it was so counter to a lot of the other crap that was out there. I was like, I love those boots. You look great.
$4 at the thrift store, and they're like,
Yeah.
never
I know.
worn.
I love that
So
even
beautiful.
more.
I love them.
$4.
This
They're
is totally
gorgeous.
a Marisa, totally cartoon, okay? Because I think this all the time, and it's proven to me every day. And you holding up your boot and saying $4. All men will tell you how much they spent on everything. Everything. They'll just tell you how much they spent on a meal. They'll tell you how much they spent on their house. They'll tell you how much they spent. All women will tell you how much they saved. They can't wait to point out. You could be like, oh my gosh, girl, is that an original Gucci something, blah, blah. Like you could big up them and give them all the credit of spending all the money in the world. And the girl's like, no, you got to go down 63rd Street to a guy named Ralph. Ask him to see the stuff behind the counter. Like girls will be like, nope, I got it at a thrift store for $4. Like they
So
always
good.
are like so excited about the bargain.
Right.
And and they
Right.
want to
That's
tell
right.
everybody
Yeah,
else how to
that's
find it.
true. We do love a bargain and we love sample sales. I'm sorry, but we do.
No, and we love telling
also-
other women about it. We'll tell strangers, they'll be like, oh my God, I love your shirt. And you'll be like, $2 Target. Like you can't wait to tell the other. Whereas if a guy,
I
if
just didn't want people to think like, yeah, like he's going out and spending a lot of money, and like I know Valentine's Day
But
is
they
harder
look
for people,
beautiful. They're
and
great.
I
no,
didn't
they're awesome.
look
And
to
girls
really
just are
care.
like
It's
that.
just I'm the yeah, I'm the person that's had like every shitty birthday Valentine's Day, so it's like a mirror, like that I'm actually, I'm like, just don't even worry about it. Like I know it's Valentine's Day, don't even do anything. Like I just like let's completely just not care about this day. And I was so surprised. It was just more like synchronistic, but it's so funny because it's so true what you're saying. Because I don't want people, yeah, I mean, whatever what people think, but like, because they look like, they're worth like
They look like $300 boots, and the fact that he got them and he knows your style and he was
And
thoughtful
they're
with,
better that they're $4. This is what a lot of the times
100%.
they're better that they're 4 than 400. This is where
Yeah.
women are like big up your blood clot self. Like we like are so excited by the bargain over, whereas a guy
brand
would
names and
fib
like,
a lot of the times, and you'd be like, oh, nice boots, and he'd be like, oh, they're Gianni Versace, they're $500. Even if he got them for $5 at a thrift store, he would never admit it. Where a girl's
Right.
like,
Right.
girl, I went to an estate sale and I didn't get these. I also got this piece of art that
so
Well,
funny.
women are used to having to stretch a can of beans 20 ways. So like we learned frugality probably through pain and suffering, but then it became a joy, and that's our hunt and gather.
Right. Yeah, instead of like, yeah, the way we might have been raised. I don't know, like, and the school I went to, I went to a number of different schools, but one of them, it was just like your parents' money, right? And you have like Guess
Yeah.
jeans, you got all these like brand names, and like literally you're not going to wear the same outfit more than once in the school year because you're just like so loaded, and we just weren't like that, and but
Yeah.
that was always kind of frowned down, just kind of like, ooh, your status, you're not,
Yeah.
you can't afford that. And yeah, now it's just, I never resonated with that. But,
No.
and just, the celebrity world, just with all their brand names and their Chanel and their just purses and bags and rah.
But I feel like all of that is a front for trafficking. Like I feel
It
like
is.
it is. And so it's flashy and it's trendy, but it has this icky, slicky yuck to it to me. I've never really been into the labels or the brand names because, again, we couldn't really afford them. We probably could get some secondhand Gloria Vanderbilt jeans where we all have that swan on our butts. And now knowing what she was doing, she was high level mother of darkness in the system and supposedly did all kinds of sacrifice. And I'm like, great. So they had the children wearing those and like indoctrinating us with her little swan symbol, and nobody knew like what she was about or what she stood for, and that's Anderson Cooper's mom. And so she was pretty high up in the system. Then you got your Mae Musk, who was pretty high up in the system, and then you got your Elon. So this is just generationally passed down to them, that they were, some of them born and created for their roles.
Yeah, well, I have some news about Anderson Cooper, by the way.
Spill it.
Yeah. CNN slashing talent salaries like Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, and Jake Tapper. That's news. And that just happened. Also, Hollywood is exploding. Paramount shares dropped 7% after Warren Buffett sells a third of his stake.
What about Disney? They have to go down next. Disney's got to go down.
They have not been doing so well. So
I know Iger's in trouble, right? Bob Iger.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there you go. I feel like things are changing, and I think people are waking up. Do you guys think people are waking up? What do you think?
I do. I feel it. I can hear it. The younger generation just seems to know this stuff without having to intellectualize it. They just intuitively know. Like I was talking to a friend, she's probably only just between 30 and 35, and I'm 52. And so she's like, I don't know how I know this stuff that you're saying, but I just know it's true. And I'm not questioning it, and I'm accepting it. And she goes, and my sister knows, and my friends know, and we talk about this, and it's very matter of fact. And she goes, and sometimes it is scary because you think, well, do I even want to bring kids into this world, or this or that, or do I want to get married or whatever? And do the old paradigm, traditional, whatever. But really, they are much more calm about it, I feel like, and much more accepting of it. And it's just like, that's just reality for them, and they don't, it's not that they don't question, but they understand Illuminati, they understand the Mason symbolism, they understand the sigils. Like, that's from TikTok probably. So good for
It's all
them.
so out there. I just have to say it's amazing, the clients that I have doing, readings, you have a really like switched on mother, like very awakened, who's dealing with children that are very woke or very indoctrinated, and they're really struggling with their kids. And then I get the kids that are really awake and can see through it all, that watch videos like this, and they can't talk to their parents about it because their parents are
Right.
so it's a
That's
very
another
mixed
divide and
bag.
conquer. You're totally right. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very mixed bag between, and just what that creates. And the beauty is when somebody says, well, it hasn't separated us. We can agree to disagree. We're not letting that cause like massive separation, although there are a lot of people that does cause. But I see it like as a tragic awakening. It's just a very brutal thing to wake up to, because it impacts your body. It's like feeling like, oh my gosh, I agreed to that, and now that's compromising my body and my potential future when it comes to health. When you thought you were doing it to benefit your health and the health of everybody around you, it is the cruelest awakening. I just think.
Yeah.
Well,
You have
Depopulation.
to have a death before you have a wake. It is in you. It's like the shadow work is where you heal, and all that stuff is so painful. And there's a reason, I believe. However, the more painful your journey has been, you decided before here to carry that piece for the whole this time. Because if we're going to get all the way ahead, like if we're going to win, and this is the only timeline we get to win on, it's because all the best of us are here. And the only reason you're the best is because your armor has chinks in it, because you've made it home from battle again and again. So you don't want people next to you that have pristine armor. Those are people that have never made it through anything.
I
You
always
want
say that.
somebody.
I always say that.
Everybody, I love that. I think everybody's armor here is pretty fucked up.
I know, that's what you want, though. It's like you want the people
We've
that
seen
have
battle.
made it through, and then that's how we heal. Is they are going to put the world through a dark night of the soul. We're not there yet, but luckily we've all made it through our own personal dark nights of the soul.
Yes.
When the world does get here, we're going to be so much kinder to them than the world was us.
Exactly. I always compare it to just metaphors, because it's kind of my background, like wilderness expedition leadership. A good expedition leader did not get trained when it was always sunny and the weather was great and there were no poisonous creatures around. The reason the expedition leader is good at what it does is because it weathered the storms. It got bitten by the snake. It got, it just learned how to survive in the harshest of terrain and weather. You want somebody to be a guide or be leading by example or be a way shower if they hadn't weathered, the most brutal of brutal. And so I feel, just like what you're saying, Chaney, the dark night of the souls that we've all experienced has put us in a really good position to be able to assist, those that are having, that kind of rude awakening. And sometimes it does feel you hold the hand of the slowest hiker so that we don't leave them in the dust, right? We have to kind of slow ourselves down a little bit to make sure that, but it's not about I'm better or I know more. It's just more experience, and more like I got back up and I kept going. And you can too, right? And you're going to do it in your own unique way. But, we're here to just kind of lift each other up and remind each other to never give up.
I keep saying to everyone,
Love
I
that.
just saw it in the last few weeks. The fool isn't the fool on the tarot card because they're about to fall off the cliff. They're the fool because they're keeping their foot on the other side. They need to take the leap. If you have a good group of people around you, like they're going to encourage you to always take that leap to find the best version of yourself, because that makes the entire whole better. So it's just like sometimes it's really scary, but the fool is only the fool because he's still standing on the ledge.
He didn't find his wings yet.
Love that. I love that.
It's the zero. It's like the divine innocence. It's being in the now. It's just being, just.
And if you stay on that ledge, I guarantee you 100% of the time, that ledge will become the tower card and you will have a great fall. So it's just like the universe tries to tell you in a whole bunch of nice, easy ways to move sometimes. And if you don't move, the universe is going to freaking crumble your whole tower down and force you to move. And it's just the way it's going to work. And
Exactly it.
it's
That's Neo in the Matrix. I just realized that as you said it. I'm seeing him on top of the building, trying to run to try to catch, the wind or whatever to get to the other side of the other building and be able to levitate, fly, whatever. He's the fool.
Well, that's the thing, because the obstacles is people hit their head against it and become victimized by it and then turn the
Yeah.
other way. They don't want to learn to leap
Yeah.
over it. And these obstacles, the tests and tribulations, have to do with dark Saturn, overcoming the rules and limitations and tyrannical authority. We need to fly over those limitations, not hit our head against it in fear and be like, okay, I can't cross through the gatekeeper. I need to do what it's telling me to do. Right. And just breaking through that and just
my
leaping over it.
gosh.
I mean, we're spiritual athletes here. Like,
yeah,
we're
you become the
Yeah,
hangman. You're
exactly.
saying like now it's like you become the hangman if you don't leave the tower. You become that. Like
Yeah,
so
upside
take the
down, fool.
leap.
Yep.
It's like it all like that Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, when it's like one of the great tests he has to go through to reach immortality is that he has to take the leap of faith. And you just have to know it's there sometimes. You don't
This is
ever
like
see
Thunder
it. You just
cross-
sense it.
that's the hangman. It's just
It is classic Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey.
Yes.
So archetypal, and that's like it's also the myth of Sophia rising up. It's like that's what we're in. And I have to
And
say,
taking the leap of faith.
yeah,
Sophia took the leap of faith,
She
and
took
she
the leap
didn't
of-
trust in her mother, or she didn't trust in her father. She trusted in herself, and she had yet to know what it was yet.
Mhm.
And
I'm always
though
saying to
she-
my clients,
it's so
yeah.
crazy. Like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
the mother
Beautiful,
of her
though.
greatest fear, and we get to like almost experience her controlling that in this lifetime. She's learning
Yes.
how to control Yaldabaoth, and that's us doing it too.
Well, we rise with her. We're celestial and terrestrial, and this is what it's all about. We're rising up with Sophia. I just got to say, you guys, that we are in the middle of the epic battle of battles of our lifetimes, and I am so happy to be in the trenches and in this war with you guys.
Me too. Yeah.
too.
Thank you guys. Seriously.
I'm always saying, I just wanted to come back to that leap of faith because it's so perfect for where we're at. We're poised at that edge right now, and we grow our wings on the way down. But I'm always saying to my clients, it is leaps of faith and baby steps in between the leaps of faith, because some people, like, a leap of faith is so terrifying. They would rather stagnate forever than take a risk or take a chance or leave a job or say no to the job or break up with that toxic boyfriend or whatever it is. So yes, take the leap of faith and know you will be, your wings will show up or you'll be caught,
Mhm.
you know?
This is really great, you guys. Another great show.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I can't believe it went by so fast.
I know.
I really can't. I'm like,
Gosh.
what? It's been like a half hour.
I have a feeling we're gonna have you guys on a regular basis. I hope
It
you're
sounds good to me. I love it. It's so fun for me.
This is how we transmute the Church of Hollywood rituals, is by making
Yes.
other people not
Yeah.
scared of them and laughing in their face.
Yeah, I always say mock the mockers and stalk the stalkers and reverse the reversals. So then you're bringing it back to 0 point and you're going quantum and you're having so much fun with the deep dives and rabbit holes and onion layer pulling, because you don't care. You're not invested in people thinking you're crazy or you're sane or you're brilliant or you're an idiot, or like you're just throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. It's like jazz.
I
oh my
think
god.
laughter, like that Steel Magnolias thing, laughter through tears is the greatest emotion.
Yeah.
I also say that they can't kill you when they're laughing.
Right.
So you're
You're high
mocking
vibe,
them
yeah.
and they're like laughing, even though you're like Ricky Gervais, like at the Golden Globes. They're
Ugh.
laughing, but they can't stab you at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a levity. It's a, when we laugh, we're in that more celestial realm and we're not in the density. We're flying. Our laughter actually brings our vibration and our frequency to such a high, pure place. That's why children are so joyful. That's why truly enlightened people are more joyful than miserable. That doesn't mean we, haven't had those dark nights of the soul, or that we don't get pissy or have road rage or be human. But we are realizing, like, I love what you guys said about that we can be kinder to the ones who are awakening because it was so brutal to us. And that's something I have to remember, because I sometimes am still in that boot camp mentality. I got to slow my roll and
Yeah,
pick
I
my
know.
audience in my
I
moment,
have to remind myself that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
anyway,
scream at my
this
audience
is
too.
great.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. It was
See you
awesome.
next time, everybody. Divine Mother Earth time. What a divine time this has been.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.